All right, good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital Nightly Strategy Podcast for April 1st, 2023. Oops. Get this going. There we go. We'll start with the 30-period moving regression line, the RL30, the slope, and we're looking at the Z-score of important sectors. So the important boundaries are between plus and minus 1. That gives you the range. This gives you the range of normal. And you notice we had a peak. It sold off hard. Finance got really smashed with the regional bank debacle. But tech really led the turnaround and is already almost back at plus 1. And we saw just how strong that was this entire week. That has pulled the market north. Energy is beginning to make a turnaround, as are materials, but it's clearly tech leading the way, and that's where we want to be with the old school tech like Intel, Microsoft, Cisco, Apple are really leading the way. So that's going to be our focus going ahead. And then in the battle of XLP, the staples against the growth, staples held up well, and I think that was kind of a flight to quality. But XLY has been tracking the market and is making the turn. It's really closed the gap, and so I would not be surprised to see XLY led by Tesla, Home Depot, and Amazon to really take over and go. Amazon is really more of a tech company, conceptually, and so I think we're likely to see the surge continue. Dan has offered some swing trades for quick review. I want you to notice that this opportunity doesn't look like much inside here after this really nice COTA 2 opportunity. And it didn't really break out of that region right here on the daily. What I'd notice is that this sell-off and rebound, established this as the channel, and we got really half of that channel on the next 4 days. But even in there, he's got a perfectly timed COTA 2. That'd be there's the RL or the PSAR flip. He exited a piece for 1.15 during the day because that's where the daily move ended. And I like that. I like getting paid. Why not? Then the next morning, there's a gap down in a morning hook. He uses this opportunity, to stay in, protected by the gains he's already made. But then when it doesn't follow through, he gets out and still keeps a piece on. That's really good form. He does not get tricked by this one, but when the RL10 flips the PSAR, now you have a strong COTA 2 signal here. That was an opportunity. That would have paid off pretty nicely. Reason being, if you get this entry and you use the PSAR box, you really get a little over 2R in that opportunity with plenty of time, really almost 3 hours, to get out anywhere in that region before the end of the day. And then in that case, you get the same kind of move that you had here. You could get that same kind of move there. So those kinds of intraday opportunities are not to be sniffed at, right? I think that's where we get paid. Just taking the bird in the hand, worth two in the bush. What makes this one pretty nice is if you come down and take a look at, the MACD Four Seasons. You went from a spring, summer, fall, winter, and then right back into the summer, which corresponds with that little healing process going on. So I think that was very nicely played. And because this is gold, you're going to always kind of get that oscillation. There's a move in there. You may not want to take those, but still, what I like about this one is you still have a rising tide. In the long term, you still kind of have this caught a 2, and then on the upside, you have a rising channel. So if that's the middle of the channel, what that means then is this little higher low right here is now setting up for a potential continuation at least to this level. So there's room for some gains inside that move. Be ready for that on Monday. Excuse me. This is Mexico, and I just want you to notice how good this move has been. I mean, gee whiz, on the daily. Man. And you can see that it's been making considerable runs up every morning. It wasn't until Friday that we got that first sell-off. He gets a really nice entry on, if this is day 1, day 2, day 3, that continuation was probably the best move all week along with this one, right? And I think he nails the entry about in the second hour of the day. Get a nice tight wrist box in here. Standardizes with taking 3/4 of the position off, calling that the turbo for 1 1/4 R. The next morning, it tries to run up, but then he gets it as it comes through the dragon, so he still gets paid here. That's the move that you want. You're still in the first third of the day. You're about 2 hours in, and there's still a move that's available. On these, at the end of a long 4 or 5 day run, just be mindful that when that peaks beyond Z2, that looks like the dragon horns, and you get a nice potential move right there intraday. Remember, EWW Mexico is a frog champion and trades beautifully intraday. It's a very strong trending target intraday, as well as on swings. You get really nice swings in both directions, right? You get nice swings in both directions, but you also get very directional intraday moves as well. That's mostly signal, right? So keep EWW on your short list as a high priority trader all the time. Just by default, I'm trading EWW. Intel, the sell-off just gave it time to make that turn in a run, going from 24 to 32. That's a 33% gain. And there's more coming, as we've seen. I'd like to see you alert earlier on this Z3 pinch, and the next morning, the big breakout and go. Now, when it does not fail here at all and starts that breakout, that's your sign. So there's a move in the late morning that gives you your first move. Now, this trade here is nice. I think a little slow on the entry, unless I missed that. Wait a minute. Oh, I'm sorry. Here's the entry. So that's in good shape. Gets the exit here for basically a scratch. Still another move available in there. That pretty much a scratch. That's all right though. But I want you to see this pattern here when it breaks out of the Z3 pinch, and then there's a continuation, and the VWAP is rising, and the dragon is rising, and the PSAR is rising. All signs point to yes. And that's a fat move in the middle of the day. There's going to be more of that next week in Intel. Finally, Caterpillar. Let's see where we're at. So we're in this, just kind of in this bar for the trade. There's opportunities earlier on this doji. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's this one. That daily move is so tightly compressed. That's one where you say, all right, this could go this way or that way. My default, when this did not fail, I'm liking it on the long side. I like that move. I'm not opposed to taking that. You say you're spooked. I don't mind taking that. But when that reverses, I think you can take that or that and still get this move. Either one of those two re-entries would have gotten you paid intraday. But there was about an R available in there. And then the weekly summary, 27 trades. That's 6 a day. We can live on 0.24 expectancy. We can really live on 0.41. And we'll take a 6R week. That's 1.3. Yeah, that's 1.3R a day with discretion. Maybe 2R a day with the PSAR. Those are sometimes harder to take. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought that was a week. Yep, I read that wrong. We can still make a living on this at scale. And that's a pretty good pilot. It feels to me like the second half of the month was in better shape, to be honest. All right, I gotta run to get more to get back into our second half of soccer here. I'm gonna have more to say tomorrow about our planning project to start using different forms of Chat GPT, the AI robot, to produce a Ken bot. I think we're going to call it the Owl bot. And my intention is to create a database of all the writings and thousands of hours of lessons and turn that into a smart bot and have the Owl bot learn that information so that you can ask questions. And it will provide edited answers. What I'm going to do as the human in the loop is watch the answers that come out of that. And if they're good, launch it to you and then use that to improve the database. If it needs improvement, the edited version goes into the database. So I'm thinking we're going to have the ability to be even better at answering the questions you have and put that on the website for subscribers. And I think that's also, when I do that, it will also accompany everybody in any of the workshops. So I think we'll do a better job of making the FAQs more accessible. Because right now I've got about 400 pages of Q&A sessions that are written, and then about 500 hours of explanations, the audio and visual explanations, and that is almost so large that it makes it hard to find the answers. So if we can get that bot configured, so more to follow. Pretty excited about the opportunity there, and we'll get this published and posted for you, and we'll be ready for them tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, the creativity 202 sessions. Those things have been gold. And that's another thing that I'm going to do is take all the creativity 202 lessons and put that into a DB, into a database for the bot to help give us better answers to it. Genuinely speaking, the creativity 202 lesson, the real gold in that is the work that the individual traders are doing in the crosstalk. So just listening in can be very instructive, but the best thing by far is doing the work. So let me encourage you guys to think about that. And that's everything we got for tonight. We'll get this published and posted, and we'll see you tomorrow.